Tuesday here. Today we're just going to talk about running in the cold. January has arrived, it is colder, it's getting chilly out there. But for a runner, that can often be a little bit off-putting, and it really comes down to kind of having the right gear and being able to make the right adaptations to make sure that running in the cold too much isn't kind of leading to anything like colds or chesty coughs that can often come about from running too much in chilly temperatures. So kind of on background, that cold air tends to be quite dry air. That means that kind of running in the cold when your breathing rate is going up can often slightly irritate your respiratory system, which is kind of when you go out for a run in the cold and your chest feels maybe slightly tighter than usual, tends to be a result of that. So running in the cold is not a bad thing, it's not bad for you, but there are things that you can do to kind of make it healthier for you, and to make sure that you're enjoying it as well, because there's nothing worse than feeling super cold when you're out on a run. So the first thing is gear. So making sure that you're kind of keeping your extremity warm, whether that's through wearing gloves. Gloves are great. They can be a little bit claustrophobic for some people. So one thing you can do is make sure that any jacket that you wear has thumb holes so you can kind of tuck your hands into, but also then making sure that you're keeping your head and your ears warm. So that might be wearing a beanie, or it might be sort of, girls, I get you, when you got a ponytail, it's a pain to wear a beanie. So kind of getting one of those headbands that wraps around your forehead and keeps your ears warm. Another thing is a well insulated jacket. If it's dark, making sure that that's also sort of one that's got high vis on it. Some of them just have little high vis patches, but also you can get a fully high vis jacket that are well insulated. This can also be a gilet, which keeps the body warm if you don't like to keep your arms too warm, but making sure that in any case you're wearing a nicely insulated base layer under there, and also making sure that that's a really good sweat wicking piece of kit. Otherwise you'll kind of sit around with cold wet skin after you come back for a run. If you're like me, you normally take too long to get in the shower afterwards, and you don't want to be sitting in cold sweaty gear that's going to could maybe lead to a common cold or not feeling 100%. The other thing kit wise, if it's cold, that can mean it's sometimes going to be icy. So think about changing your shoes. So I often switch to my trail shoes when it's really icy. They've got a slightly thicker tread and more grip on them, and then my road shoes. So just having a think about that. Or if you want to go use a treadmill instead, if it's really cold, you've got to get up really early in the morning, the combination of the two is just too much to bear. If you can get to a gym and go on a treadmill, that's a great way to sort of adapt and overcome. Another piece of kit that is really worth keeping in mind is a buff. So when you're breathing in that cold air, that's putting quite a lot of pressure on your respiratory system. Having something that you can put over your nose and your mouth, you often kind of need to keep a gap to be allowed to breathe, but having something that allows you to kind of keep cold air out and you're breathing too much, that's also really, really valuable. The other thing to bear in mind is just thinking about the times of day that you're going out. It obviously tends to be chillier in the morning and in the evenings. If you've got a hard interval session, your breathing rate's going to be up a lot. You're going to be putting more pressure on your respiratory system by breathing in so much cold air. So, if you've got a hard interval session, maybe think about doing that at lunchtime or in the afternoon if you can change your work day around, just so that you're not doing that at the coldest time of the day. As with running in the dark, just if you can make adjustments in this time of year to make running a little bit more enjoyable, moving meetings, whatever you can do, then that is also a really valuable one. But that's not always the case. So the kit is the number one thing. So anything that you can kind of do off that kit list will really, really get you going and give you a good stead for running in the cold. Enjoy! And today we're just going to be talking about running in the dark. We are obviously in the throes of winter. While the days are getting longer, I'm appreciating that most people are getting up in the morning or running after work. And there's some kind of key things we should be thinking about when running in the dark. Number one, safety. People should be able to see you wearing high vis, whether that be a full-on jacket, whether that be high vis straps or kind of flashing straps that you can get. You can also get them for your dog if you run with your dog, so that you're both as safe as each other. Other thing is headphones. Obviously, if you're wearing music in the dark, you're less aware of your surroundings. There are great companies like Shocks who do bone conducting headphones. This means that you can kind of hear cars coming up behind you. When you're crossing a road, you feel a bit safer. And also, kind of from my own female perspective, I feel a bit safer when I can hear the footsteps happening around me. So they're a great way of kind of listening to music, but also knowing your surroundings. Another one is run with people. If you've got a friend, family, whoever it is, if you feel a little bit safer running in a group, make the most of run clubs in your local area or kind of arrange local meetups, and that's a great way to kind of feel a bit safer and also be safety in numbers. Another one is you know, if you are going out and you know your area, maybe telling a friend that you're going. This kind of, you can tell them when you're going, tell them when you get back, or kind of tell them your route in advance. This, you know, if for any reason people didn't hear from you or were a bit concerned about your safety, then they would at least know where you were. Find My Friends is a great tool for this. People can kind of track you live. It's just more of a safety in mind thing, and hopefully you should never need to use it. The other thing is obviously if you can avoid running in the dark. So while I appreciate running in the morning and the evening is kind of very common around working patterns, if you can shift meetings, if you can, you know, change your day around slightly, meaning that you can get some daylight in at lunchtime, then obviously do that and try and soak up some winter sunshine on the days that we have it. But generally, running in the dark, it's not fun all the time, but we have to be super aware that for women this can often feel a lot more threatening than it can for men. So being really wary, you know, if you have female friends, if you have a girlfriend, make sure you're kind of reaching out, offering to run with them, organising group runs, or just checking in that, you know, they're keeping safe during the winter months, because it's not always fun, but it's part of training and part of life. So whatever you do, go and have fun, be safe, have a good time. Thanks, guys.